Hey YouTube, welcome to the Comic Book Community 411 and my special guest, Tylox the Mighty. Tylox, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
I'm good. Appreciate you having me on. I've really been enjoying this series, all these kind of series that everybody's doing. I'm really enjoying them, so I definitely wanted to be on here.
Ah, cool. Appreciate that. Yeah, I enjoy the interview series because you get to know the person a little bit better. So that's why I decided to start my own. So before we jump into the questions, why don't you give everybody just a little brief intro about yourself or the channel?
My channel is Tylox The Mighty. You can find me on YouTube, IG. I'm starting to set up a Facebook account, but it's slow going. I've been collecting since 2012, 2013, off and on. Took a break for a little while. But I've pretty much been reading comics and doing pop culture stuff, action figures and stuff like. I've been doing that my whole life. So like, I mean, it's part of growing up as a kid, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just love reading comics. I love the art. I love sports cards because I'm into sports. Yeah, it's just fun stuff to do.
Lots of collecting rabbit holes to go down
Lots of them.
and
And
money to
the
be
great
spent.
thing about this community is there's plenty of people who will push you down new rabbit holes. So
Yeah, I've seen a few fall into some. Um, but my first question for you is: so, how did you said you've been collecting since 2012, but how did you first get started? What was did somebody give you a book? I mean, how did you first get into collecting?
it would probably be when all the movies started coming out, but not even the original movies. It was like because I watched the whole. Of course, I was on the Spider. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Love Peter Parker Spider-Man. He's my boy. Feel like me and him, even though he's not a real person, we have so much in common. That I've always been a Spider-Man fan. The original movies with Tobey came out, and I enjoyed them. They weren't to me. They weren't perfect, but they were really good. And then I saw the second set of Amazing Spider-Man movies. Those started coming out with Andrew Garfield in them, and I think at the time I was living 10 minutes away from like I just got a whim. I was just watching the movie, and I just grabbed my phone and I googled comic book stores near me, and there was one 10 minutes away, and I was like, I haven't really read comics since I was a kid. I think I'll start reading some Spider-Man comics, and then it's just been all downhill. My pull list originally started with Amazing Spider-Man and Deadpool and Avengers because those movies had just come out as well. And that was it. And then the next thing you know, just whoosh, off the deep end.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I've found that since I've been active on YouTube is everybody's recommendations or the top books or this book's really a good read. I'm buying a ton more books than I normally would buy.
Yeah, yeah. And it gets that way because, you're always looking for good stuff to read. You don't want to miss out on something that could possibly be really good and really fun.
Yeah, yeah, no, I've definitely experienced that. Now, what about YouTube? So, what got you started? Now, I'm pretty sure, right? This current channel is not your first channel.
No,
So,
this is my
what
second.
got you started? Yeah, with YouTube.
It literally was like every time I want to get into something, I start looking into it. Like I just don't blindly bumble into things. So I was like, I literally think like I typed into YouTube something to the effect of what Spider-Man comics do I need? And it immediately took me to I think it was Sam's Tangled Web was the
Oh
first
wow.
channel that I found on YouTube, and he's huge. He was a huge Spider-Man fan,
Oh yeah.
and so I think I started watching a few videos. There was ETA Nick, who was good on teaching you how to eyeball grade books and stuff like that. And the third video that I found was Sleepy Reader 666. Why are comic books so addictive? And that immediately made me kind of be like, do I want to get into comics or not? Because I don't want to be addicted to it. So
Right. Right.
like
Yeah.
But I started watching other people's channels just to get information on what's going on, what do I need to look for, pricing, grading by eye, stuff like that. And then I think I'd been pulling for a couple months, and I started being like, I started seeing haul videos and stuff. And I was like, I want to do this. So I took my laptop, my crappy laptop, and I opened it up with the camera on, and I think I turned it towards a wall because I was like, well, I don't want to show my face. I don't want anybody to know who I am. That's out the window now.
Right. Yeah.
But
Cat's out of the bag. Yeah.
yeah. And so then I started just showing what books I pulled and back issues I would buy. Because when you go to a comic book store, yeah, you're going to get the books that you pull, but you can't not walk around and look and see whatever else is there. And you buy a couple back issues here and there. And I just started doing haul videos. And then everybody just sucked me in. I think Sam was the first one who took me under his wing and was like, this book is this. This is the first. I was buying first appearances and didn't know, I didn't know what they were. And Sam pretty much schooled me on everything.
Oh, okay. Now, and that's your current channel, or this was your previous channel?
No, that was my previous channel. This one was literally like I started pulling books again. I was like, you know what? I haven't been getting books in a while, and that comics make me happy. So at the time, I wasn't quite so happy. So I was like, I'm going to start a pull list and start getting books again. And immediately, as soon as they came in, I was like, YouTube channel, haul video. Like immediate. It was immediate. As soon as I was like, all right, here I go all over again. And I think I literally just wanted to reconnect with old friends that I'd made back in my old, on my first channel, and see if they were even still out there. And luckily I found some that still were. And then immediately, as happened the first time, you start meeting new people and you start making new friends and stuff like that. And it just snowballed from there. But it was a no-brainer. As soon as I pulled books, I had to make a haul video. It was like it was an instant reaction.
That's funny. Now, what happened to the old channel? Did you get rid of it, delete it, or
I originally just left it up and I left it idle. And then, like I said, I wasn't in such a good place at the time. And I started I started watching it, and it made me depressed that I wasn't pulling comics, and I was so happy in those videos. And I was like, nobody's probably even watching these things anymore, and nobody's probably even still doing it who was doing it before. So I literally went through by hand and just deleted. I didn't know till the end, till I got done, that you could just delete the whole channel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so I literally went through and deleted all the old videos one by one.
Oh, wow.
And then I got to the end and I found the option to delete the whole channel. And I was like, well, there I go. So I did that probably a couple of years ago. It probably wasn't even that long ago. It was up for that long. And so I was like, well, and now I wished I wouldn't have done it, because I had so many videos up with hanging out with comments and stuff like that. And talking to people and stuff. So I wish I would have kept it, but I was like, you know what, just start up fresh, and see if I run into some of the same people and then meet new people. So, I mean, it worked out well. It worked out.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. And I had a similar situation when I came back into collecting. I initially came back in just to sell books. Like, I had my old collection and I was looking to start to sell them. I had no intention to start collecting again. And then I came to YouTube to figure out how to ship a book, how to pack a book properly. And then you stumble onto another video, and then I see people doing mystery boxes and hauls, and then I'm back at the LCS. And next thing I know, I'm collecting. We got a pull list.
Reeled you right back in.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I know how quickly that can turn. So what about a character or a series, a book that you would want to reboot or change? Or
a reboot. Well, the current I'm not a huge fan of reboots. I hate rebooting. I know that stresses some people out, because some people are skeptical about jumping in 700 issues into a series. But for me, I never had that problem. I was always that kid or that guy who would dive in head first and just sink or swim. That's how I learned to swim, literally, was like sink or swim, get in there. And so I've never had a problem doing that. So I'm not a huge fan of reboots, but I do get why it's better for some people. But the current ASM reboot is going well so far. So I'm not going to complain about it. But anything else that I think that I've collected has either been books that were, I don't know what the word for it is, but they were either interim books, like Moon Knight's always started and stopped. Nova's always started and stopped. The big titles didn't start that until here recently. So as far as reboots, I really don't know if there's anything that either hasn't been rebooted or that I would love to be rebooted. That already has. I mean, it's kind of a thing now. It's the status quo now, where new order, new writer, new artist, reboot. I mean, so is there anything I'm not enjoying that I'm reading? No, not really, because I don't stay on stuff long if I don't enjoy it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think, and that was my shock too when I got back in, because I collected Amazing Spider-Man and I only knew volume 1. When I got out, it was still volume 1. And then I
Same.
get back in and we're at volume 5. I'm like, what happened? Like, how many, all the different series, superior Spider-Man, and there was so much going on in the
Mhm.
time that I was out that I was like,
I started right
wow.
before all that. I started. I think I started pulling at like issue 680 or no, it was like six. It was late in the 690s, and
Oh
then I
wow, okay.
found out through my shop, hey, they're rebooting it and starting it over at number 1. And at the time, I was like, okay, like, because I mean, I didn't care, and I just jumped on to the next thing that came out. I wished I would have jumped on Superior now, to be honest, but at the time, I had this mindset of one character, one book. So I was gonna just pull Amazing Spider-Man. That was gonna be it, because there's no sense in having if I did every Spider-Man book that came out, my pull
Oh
list
yeah,
would have
you'd
been
go broke. Yeah.
John, yeah, and Deadpool, just Deadpool. Like, if he's like, I don't even think I really did miniseries. If there were some miniseries that was out, I don't even think I did those at the time. So Batman was just Batman. I had to pick either Batman or Detective Batman. So I did it that way. Now that's, of course, all out the window. So
Yeah, and I think, like you mentioned, with some of these characters like Moon Knight, where there's been so many different books that have started, series that have started and stopped. I think the publishers would be better just to maybe do a limited series, like a 12 issue run, and then if they're going to change writers or artists, then they move on to something else.
yeah,
I mean, I know some old school collectors would probably lose their minds because they want that whole, full
yeah,
run legacy run. But I think it's the way, for some of these characters that aren't, Batman or Superman or Spider Man, that don't maybe sell as well. That might be a better approach, for readers and for the companies as well. So
yeah. And it does get kind of confusing, because, like, if you buy Detective Comics now, they're up to the thousands. So they went back to the original. Same with Flash. But if you get Batman, you're at 120 something. So
right,
they rebooted it, but they didn't bring it back. So it does get kind of confusing. I wish that companies would just pick a course and stay that course. If you're going to reboot the book, reboot the book. Let it keep rolling.
right,
If you're gonna not reboot the book, then just start back over with the other. But pick a course and go with it,
right.
because yeah, it gets confusing.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. Like I said, when I got back in, I was like, I kind of had to take a little time to kind of research a little bit and figure out what was going on, because there were some books, Spider-Man books, that had new numbering, and then the legacy number showed up, and I was like, what is going on here? Like, it took a little while to kind of get my bearings again
Yeah.
when I got back in. So, comic book community, what and could be community on YouTube or just collecting in general. What is one of your biggest complaints about collecting or the community in general?
Um, the only complaint I have is probably, I know this is going to be controversial, but a lot of spec. uh, um, I know it. Yeah, it drives prices up. Which, if you're getting the books cheap, that's good for you if you're reselling them and everything. But the whole spec thing, like I just don't. I get it. I know what it is, but I just hate as a collector. I mean, all us collectors would probably love for books to be cheaper. So I mean, that's just bottom line.
Hmm.
So I mean, there's that. But I get there's another side to it. Back when I had my first channel, spec wasn't really there was some spec, but I think there was only one channel that really did spec wholly, and that was
Okay.
Mercenot. But he had such a great personality, and he was such a great guy, and his videos were so entertaining that I loved watching them. Even though he was, buy this book now because in the future it's going to be more
Right.
expensive and stuff like that, and this, that, and the other. And that was basically his thing. Wasn't he wasn't it didn't seem like he was trying to drive the prices up. He was just basically putting the info out there that,
Sharing
hey, you need to
information.
get
Yeah.
this now before he was the guy who was like Ultimate Fallout 4. This book's going to be big one day. It's
Oh,
going to be
really?
big one
Wow.
day. Buy it now while you can. I bought 10 copies. I'm telling you, buy it while you can, for cheap because it's not going to be. And we were all like, you know, and I literally came across 2 copies, still polybag, $10 a piece at my local store. I remember picking both of them up, 10 a piece. Nah, put them
Oh,
both back
wow.
in the thing, and now I hate myself for it because I do get it. I do get it. If I'm not going to be mad if there's a book that I bought that I don't enjoy that somebody else wants to buy and they want to offer me an insane amount of money for, I'm not going to not take your money. But I do get it as far as building your collection, but just the whole it seems to be now where it's more of a thing where it's like people are putting some people are putting books out there and then they immediately shoot up in price and then they start selling those books. That to
Right. Right.
me just doesn't
Yeah.
but
Manipulating the market a little bit. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but there's really, I mean, to me, if you bought a book for cheap and then it becomes expensive and you don't want it anymore and you want to sell it and you're like, hey, I could buy this with it or that with it or something, then yeah, I mean, that's fine. So I mean, but it does kind of kill your wallet, when you're
Oh, yeah.
wanting that book and then it ends up being, $1,000 book. So
Yeah, I think you kind of my philosophy has been just collect what I like to read, and if one of those books happens to hit and become a big book, then yeah, you have the option maybe to sell that and then buy other books that you want in the collection.
I literally did that last year with when they rebooted Amazing Spider-Man the first time. I
Okay.
was pulling it off the shelf, and I had first appearance Silk, all these spider characters, and I went on a show and I sold them, and I made a whole bunch of money, and I immediately turned around and bought a whole bunch of Spawn and a whole bunch of Walking Dead and a whole bunch of Web of Spider-Man because those are books that I was looking to finish runs on or work on, and I flipped them, as people say, and made my money, and then turned around and immediately bought more books. So that's why I don't take it too harshly, but it just seems like some people. I don't want people to be just there for that.
Right.
I
Right.
understand making your money, but I don't want it to be just a thing where doing this thing just to make money because these books, some of these books have great stories. Some of these books have great artists. Oh my God, artists now, phenomenal.
Oh,
So I
definitely.
mean, enjoy. That's the way I look at it, purist kind of standpoint. But at the same time, I get it. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
you do
Yeah.
you, make your money.
And you can drive yourself crazy chasing books, right? Chasing the spec. I find like it can be nerve wracking trying to figure out. Oh, there's a first appearance. Like the beginning of the year, there were a bunch of books like Strange Academy, Thor. Like it was almost like week after week there was some hot book that there was some first appearance, and like I was started to chase them a little bit, and then I'm like, what am I doing? Like this is
Yeah,
because I'm not really reading these stories, so why it just and I was like, I don't need to do this.
it does take a it's an art. It's an art. Even just like anything else, you're either going to be good at it or you're going to be bad at it. And I'm not so great with it. I think I sold my Thor run with the first Jane Foster and stuff. I recently sold it. I sold 1 through 6 I put it up on eBay. It got $80.
Oh wow.
And I think I put it up at the wrong time, is what people would say. I waited, put it out there too soon or whatever. But to me, I was just like, I mean, I'd rather just spend the money on something else. I'm really not reading those books.
Right.
Somebody else will enjoy them. So I let somebody else jump on it. Yeah, I could have made more, but to me, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
you made
playing my
some money,
hobby.
right? So,
Yeah. So it comes and it goes.
and I think too, the movies and the TV shows are really driving the spec, right? Because there's so many rumors. There's so many streaming services that that are looking for content and potentially could pick up a story. I mean, I've found that one since I've gotten back in is that it's just the rumor mill of what who's going to get optioned and what TV show and that kind of live action stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's probably based from the way I started. Was like, okay, Amazing Spider-Man. I'm going to get into Amazing Spider-Man. What do I need? And the movie is basically what drew me back into wanting to go read the books and collect
Right.
and stuff like that. But it wasn't a thing at the time where it was like, yeah, the books would be slightly higher because you had more people in on the bidding or more people wanting them and stuff like that. But it still wasn't a thing like where it was like the next ASM movie is going to have Electro in it. You need
Right.
to get this Electro book. It's the first appearance or like, something big that he did here and there and this, that. It wasn't a whole lot of that back then. So it's just, I guess it's just the way I came in.
Right. Yeah, no, I think it's been more recent the last few years
Yeah.
where the rumor mill is just driving the spec and the book prices.
And
So,
I just feel bad for people who pay all these money for these books. And then if the movie doesn't do well, then the
right.
value immediately starts going down. And these people are like, I hate comic books now. This thing costed me so much money and now it's not even worth, this, that, and the other. That's why I kind of like the purest thing to it, to where if you enjoy the book, if you enjoy the story, if you enjoy the art, go for that, because that's always going to be there.
Right.
And what it's worth should be second. Now, if it ends up being worth $1,000 or whatever, good.
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the way I've been trying to approach it because if not, you'll drive yourself crazy. So,
mhm,
I know you're attending HeroCon at the end of this month. So,
yeah.
what are your goals for the con? I know there's a big group of the community going, so I know hanging out and meeting everybody's one of the goals. But what about collecting or signatures or meeting artists? What's the plan?
Well, I've never been a huge graded guy, but I think I finally came to terms with the fact of a way to do it for me that feels like I'm doing it justice. If I have 2 copies of a book, then I can read 1 copy, then I can get one graded. But I don't plan on, and signed. Like that's basically why I'm going, is to hang out with people from the community and just to get some books signed. I am going to get some books graded, but those books are going to be kept as like keepsakes. Like they'll be something that I, keep as something that I treasure. And there's no, wanting to go make money off of them intent whatsoever. But as far as buying books at cons, they're always way higher priced at cons, which I get, because these people load their vehicles up. They drive down with all these books. They set up tables. They put work in. It's like a day at work for them. So the more money they make, the more it's worth it to them. So I'm just planning on getting a bunch of books signed. I'm going to get those books, maybe not even all of them graded. Some of them I might just get signed and done just to keep, even though they're not graded, and get those done. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not going to be walking around HeroCon and see something that I'm like, that has to come home with me, because that's going to happen. But
Yeah.
I just want to meet creators and get to talk to these people who I've been, either hearing great stories about. Steranko is going to be there. So
Okay.
I've never pulled a Steranko book. I've never, but I know he's an incredible artist. But I've also heard he's a great character. So I want to get to meet him and, a little banter with him and get to, hang out with him for a little bit and see how that goes. But that's pretty much just it. Getting some books signed, telling some artists and some creators, hey, this really meant a lot to me. I really appreciate that you did this. And just give them the praise that they deserve, because I don't think they definitely hear it and they definitely know that people enjoy what they do. But I just like giving them that adulation to keep them going. I mean, like,
Right. Right.
keep them doing stuff. Like, you want to keep the artists around that you like and the writers around that you like. And the best way to do that is to let them know, hey, I really enjoy what you do. And I don't care if it's me and 4 other people that come up to you and that's it for a whole weekend. But we want you to keep doing what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's, it's not like a sports team or, who's got, 20,000 people, screaming for them at their game. The artists and the writers, other than the cons, they don't really have any. Well, I have noticed that there are some, some of the creators that are, they're checking out videos on YouTube. We've run into it a few times where, the artist or writers reached out. So I think, social media and YouTube is a kind of a feedback loop for them.
Yeah,
Probably good and bad.
good and bad. I mean, you're going to get that with anything you do.
Right, sure. Yeah. All right. So those were the 5 questions that I had for you. And I always ask the guests if they have a question, and nobody's taken me up on that so far. So my last question is going to be a random question. So, and I have a list of just random questions. So I'm going to ask you to pick a number between 1 and 50, and whatever you land on, that's the question I'll ask.
I'll go with 25.
25. All right. This is a good one. This I actually want to know from
I
you.
don't want to know what it is.
What is your game plan in a zombie apocalypse?
That's a piece of cake.
Yeah, I figured you might even have a written plan for
Oh
this
yeah, I
already.
already have this planned out. And if you do not know this, the CDC, if you go on their website, has a thing where they can tell you the best things to do during the zombie apocalypse. Um, uh, it's just to survive. It's just literally keep moving, because you're gonna have to scavenge food and stuff like that, or whatever you can hunt. I've been hunting since I was younger, so that's nothing new for me. And keep moving, keep scavenging for what you can survive. Try to stay as quiet as possible, because noise attracts things, and I'm assuming zombies would probably be the same way. So keep as quiet as possible. So like the guy who says I'm going to load my car down with 5,000 guns, you're probably not going to make it. You're going to get swarmed real quick. But I do have stuff that's like contingency stuff. I have a machete, some knives and stuff like that. A couple katanas, because Michonne. And just kind of keep as quiet as possible. Keep moving. Keep ahead of weather, because people don't usually take weather into account. You don't want to be in New York when it's winter. You don't
Yes.
want to be and you don't want to be in the South when it's the dead of summer. So just keep moving, keep your head on swivel, scavenge what you can. Only go for specialty stuff, except when you need it. Like if if you got a cold, and you need cough syrup or something like that, just go for that stuff when you need it. Kind of if you come across it ahead of time, that's great. And basically just live off the land. Basically, that's pretty much the easiest way I would see it would be going, because gas is going to run out real quick. You can only siphon so many gas tanks
Oh
before you
yeah.
start running out of gas tanks, and stuff like that. And be just indiscreet as possible. Just kind of sneak around. Which I got to credit Walking Dead. Walking Dead's another thing that got me into comics too, because I didn't know that was a comic until I got to the comic store and I heard somebody talking about it, and I was like, "That's a comic?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're selling it right over there." And I was like, "Walking Dead's a comic?" So I started buying those. Like, I mean, that got added onto my pool real quick. So, you just take what you can from all these. Romero has made a whole, survival book, basically, if you just watch his movies. It's his whole survival book on how to survive a zombie apocalypse. So I would definitely go with that.
I like it. It sounds like a solid plan.
I hope so. I hope so, because I
Well,
don't
let's hope we don't find out, but
yeah, let's hope we
I'm
don't
glad
find
you're
out.
prepared.
Yeah.
So that was it. Those are all the questions I had. So why don't you tell me about what you got coming up on your channel, or I know, like I said, I know you got HeroCon coming up soon. Are you going to do any video from there?
There will be footage, but I'm horrible at that kind of stuff, and I'm not done a whole lot of editing. So
Okay.
I'm going to try to definitely shoot some footage. There will definitely, be pictures, definitely, because those are easy on Instagram and stuff like that, on all the social medias. So definitely, there'll be pictures, there'll be some footage. Maybe if a creator wants to, get some footage taken of them, maybe I'll ask a couple creators, hey, do you want to say something to like my YouTube viewers and stuff like that? If they're down for that, I'll do a little clip of that, and stuff like that. As far as coming up on my channel, one of the rabbit holes that I fell down a few years ago was buying vinyl, buying records. I started doing that a whole lot. So my haul videos literally consist of anything from sports cards, comics, records, sometimes pops, sometimes action figures, stuff like that. It could be any and everything. Usually every 2 weeks I get my pull in and I do a whole hangout video where I just show what books I got and I hang out with whoever wants to jump in and hang out and banter and
Right.
I mean it's funny because I mean I'm waiting for somebody to be like, oh man, that's a horrible book. I mean, like, people don't do that enough. So like, there's those videos. I do haul videos for records and stuff like that. I usually, if I'm off every 2 weekends. So usually, if I'm off, I'm on Spine Ticks, hanging out with those guys. So that's always the thing. We've started a new show. Well, we didn't. Cardboard Crazies has started a new show where he does pack rips with a bunch of us,
Okay.
and I'm usually on that every Tuesday. It's called the Bench Warmers, is what we call
Oh,
it.
I got to check that out. I don't think I've seen that. I know Sith was doing like a Thursday afternoon or evening
That's
card
even a
rep
thing
show.
too. Yeah, that's also a
Yeah.
thing too. If I'm off on Thursdays and Sith from Spine Ticks is doing PSA tendencies, I'm on that. I'll rip some packs, or if I actually buy some graded cards, I'll show those. Let's see, what else do I got coming up? I've started a new series because I love music. I've been in a band. I've loved music pretty much my whole life, but really, really got into it when I hit my teenage years. And I found this music called punk music, and it started a rabbit hole right there because then I went to thrash and metal and death metal and doom metal. So I wanted to mix the two, and so I've started doing a series called Tunes and Collections, where basically I reach out to musicians for bands, and I'm like, hey, if you've got a collection, if you collect things, comic books, action figures, records, cars. One guy I have scheduled has a vintage taxidermy collection.
Oh, wow.
So if you
That's a
collect
collection.
anything and you're a musician, hit me up, let me know. I'll schedule you on Tunes and Collections. You can nerd out over whatever it is that you collect. That way you can get the information out there about stuff that you collect. Maybe you collect stuff people didn't even know was collectible,
Hmm.
and you can give information and you can gush over that stuff as long as you want. Um, Here recently, I've started going to. When I was younger, I played sports a whole lot, and I loved baseball. I absolutely loved playing baseball. So here recently, I've been starting to go to batting cages. There'll be a few batting cages videos of me just taking some swings
Nice.
and doing that. That'll be coming up. I don't know if it'll be this year. I might be able to do it, but it's probably going to be next year. I'm going to get some more gear accumulated up, and I actually plan on next year start doing playthrough videos. So I'll learn a song and then I'll just record me playing.
Okay.
I'll drop the guitar track and I'll play the guitar track with the rest of the band backing, and I'll just do my versions of songs and stuff like that. And I'm going to start doing a few of those. Is there anything else I don't want to forget? We are doing a series here recently that got started up. I think it was like in January when we started it. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. I like most of his stuff. Most of it's good. But we've started doing a show called Fanboys Live, and it's me, Raging Cajun Comics, Neighbor to the North, TM Nerdy.
Yeah.
All these people you should definitely go look up and hit up and sub their channels and give them views and give them praise because they're great, great guys. For a while, Evil's Comics was also on it. He's taking a little hiatus, I think.
Yeah.
On YouTube. So whenever he wants to come back and jump back in, he's, we're definitely welcoming him back in. And we just review Kevin Smith movies, and we're going chronologically. I think we're up to Jersey Girl. The next one we're doing is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and that one will also feature Roscoe from Geeking Out with Roscoe. He'll be
nice.
on that one because he's a huge Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back fan. That's one of his favorite movies, so he's going to be on that one with us. And we just we jump around from each one of our channels, so it's not on one person's channel, and we review Kevin Smith movies, and we talk about our favorite moments from the movies.
Nice.
And stuff like that. So there's that going on as well. And I think Sith is also starting up a D&D Sunday thing where we're gonna play D&D live on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
A group of us, and that's going to be interesting. I think everybody, I don't know everybody who's all involved with that, but I know that Dave Collectier has expressed interest.
Okay.
Steph's definitely down. I'm definitely down. I think Comic Talks Weekly might even be in on that.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm getting more info based. I'm messaging the guys now to find out what the deal with that is, because I really love D&D. That's the thing that I've loved doing over the past few years. So I think there's going to be some of that on the on the horizon. I think that might be it.
You got a lot coming up then. A lot to look forward to.
I try to stay busy, man. I try to stay busy.
And don't we have? Isn't there a sequel to Clerks? Isn't Smith working on a sequel now to Clerks?
There's Clerks 2 already out. It's already been out. Clerks 2, I think it's been a thing. I think he's doing another one though. I'm not sure.
I thought there was a new, a third one. Yeah.
That's coming out. And we'll definitely probably, like I said, we're doing this chronologically, so we're going to check all the boxes. And yeah, it's a whole lot of fun. That's what I love the most about YouTube, and what I loved about my last channel. That's why I pretty much came back, is to just make friends that are interested in the same stuff that I'm interested in, and we could all, maybe get to, like, back in the day, there was no, we'll get to hang out. I mean, sometimes it would happen, but it wasn't a thing where people actually thought it would happen.
Right.
Where, you get to meet all these people and just make friends and hang out and agree or disagree or show books, and just have fun. That's what it's about, is just having fun. If you take this YouTube thing too seriously, it'll drive you insane. I've seen it drive people nuts. I've seen people leave who are just like, I'm done with this. And I'm like, why are you mad? Like, why are you done with this? You've got friends, you've got viewers, like keep your stuff going. But I do know life gets in the way sometimes. So,
yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Because it's really, I know for most, it's just a hobby. It's a free, it's a connection, like you said, with other collectors, people with, similar, interest, that type of thing. But yeah, sometimes life can throw you,
and
throw
also,
a monkey wrench into that.
I did forget something. This is what I was forgetting. I'll plug this, and I can't believe I forgot it because I'm on your channel. The CBCA Awards. Nominations are open. If people would like to nominate me for the best hair, best mustache, best hands category, I would definitely appreciate your nominations and your votes. That's something that I'm looking forward to. I mean, I'm not going to be crushed if I lose, but at the same time, I would love to see that trophy hanging up somewhere back here at some point. So go check out cbcaawards.org
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
and get your nominations in. It's open till nominations are open till
July,
July
July
23rd. Okay,
23rd. Yeah.
July 23rd,
So
and
plenty of
then
time, but get them in soon because, summer and you get
yeah,
busy, you'll forget. So I don't want,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So definitely hit that up and put your hand in the hat for that if you like to if you'd like to vote for your favorite content creators and stuff like that. But it's not anything anybody should be upset about. It's fun. It's just something to do that's fun. And the way I looked at it is, I don't know if people have seen my video from last year about me flipping out. I was not mad at all whatsoever. It was a joke. But at the same time, it was really hard to make that video. I had to do like 4 takes to stop from laughing myself. So yeah, like it's something that you can at least, even if you don't win, you can at least gauge. You can at least gauge if you're in the final cut, you're doing really well. If you win, you're doing excellent. If you don't win, you can maybe look at your channel and just be like, if I really want to win that bad, if it's that important to you, what do I need to, adjust or change or tweak or this, that, and the other. Best production category, I better not even be nominated. I know this, but just have fun with it. Support the creators that are out here, putting in our time and putting in effort and stuff like that. Most of us though are just doing it for fun. We're just doing it to meet people and get away from real life and hang out and just have a good time. There's nothing wrong with a little friendly competition every once in a while. Yes, some people will get butt hurt, as people say, but you move past it. You know what I mean? It's nothing to take too personal. So definitely hit that up too.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
No problem.
All right, so let's thank you for for coming on and answering all the questions. And all links will be down below for channel and Instagram. So go check out Tylox if you not sub to him. Please go do that, and appreciate you coming on. So we'll see everybody next time. Have a good night.
Bye. Peace.